End of the road, the final stop on this season's series tour. St. Louis, Missouri, gateway to the west, home of the Arch. But however, big surprise tonight. Got some friends here I want you to meet. Come on in, guys. Mike Hogwood, Scott Douglas, and of course Dennis Anderson, kind of my co-host all year. These are the experts. The guys who are in the booth giving you the play-by-play all season long.
Yeah,
guys,
we came down here for a reason, too.
What was that?
And the reason is this. It's great to be here for this event here in St. Louis.
It's the last stop on our tour, as we talked about. Let me tell you guys, being down here with you, I feel, you know, a little wonderful emotion going on here.
It does feel good.
All tingly inside.
And we're going to have a great show.
It's a great show. It's the end. Take it away. You guys, get to the pits.
Who are those guys?
I have no idea.
Motor Madness.
Let's go down to the pits as I instructed them to do. Mike Hogwood, who you got?
I'm with Tom Mance. He's the driver of Bulldozer. A lot of people say you're the favorite tonight. Boy, a win here will be great momentum for next year, too, wouldn't it?
You ain't a kid. You know, we wasn't out here to run a full series this year. We'd like to take a win and enjoy it and savor it for the whole off season.
It looks like you're ready to go.
Yeah, we're definitely fired up. You know, it's a driver's track, and I consider myself a good driver, so I better do well.
All right, we'll see. Let's go now to Scott Douglas.
Guys, I'm with Dan Patrick. And Dan, it's been a great year for you. You've made a lot of finals, but so far haven't won an event totally. Is this the night you finally get it?
Well, we'd hope so. The first round here is going to be my toughest round, it looks like, you know. But I don't know. We've been, like you say, consistent all year. We've had breakage down. We've only broke $500 worth of parts the whole winter. I mean, so, you know, when you're an independent, nobody's writing checks. You know, when you look at it that way, I mean, you know, I feel that we won the series. But I'm really, I don't want to sound overconfident and cocky, but this is the course I should shine on. And tonight, the rules are basically no disqualifications, maybe some infractions. So there shouldn't be the problems we've had in the past of maybe hitting a barrier or something like that. So it should be a no holds barred race.
Let's go down pit road and find out what Dan Moriarty's getting ready for.
Scott, I'm here with Gary Porter of Carolina Crusher. Gary, up and down season. You came out strong. You sold the team. How do you get prepared for the final run of the year?
But I'm going to tell you what, it sort of has been a tough year for me. You know, we've had a lot of breakage and just little stuff that has happened that really never does happen to us. And, you know, hopefully we've overcome all of that. You know, we're here at the final race. You know, we hope we have the truck tuned up 100%. And we're going out here and give it all.
You heard it there. Carolina Crusher is always here for a good run. Mike Hogwood, who do you got?
I'm with the driver of Gunslinger, Scott Hartsock. Scott, you started this year so strong, winning 2 of the events. Not that you've slumped, but I know you'd love to end this season with a win.
Yeah, you're right. You know, we started off with a bang, and here we are at TWA Dome. It's the World Finals. We're going to come in here, you know, and if we got to shoot somebody in the back to get through these rounds, we're going to have to do it because we're going to put this mega-powered Ford Gunslinger right in the winner's circle.
All right, go get him tonight.
Thank you.
Scott Hartsock. Now let's go back to Scott Douglas.
Well, now I'm here with Paul Schaefer and the Monster Patrol. Paul, I know when you guys got to town and looked at this track, you looked at it and you got to thrashing, doing a lot of changing. What did you do?
I'll tell you what, this is the biggest track that we've been on all year, and we had to take like 6% gear. We had to go to like a 3% gear, so we just increased the wheel speed probably 20, 30 mile an hour faster this track.
You got to be fast right off the get-go because you got Gravedigger in round 1.
Yeah, I'm second in the points, and I got Gravedigger, so I got to beat him. So I'm waiting.
Good luck, Paul. Let's go back down to Dan Moriarty.
Thank you, Scott. You know, Mike, that is one heck of a lineup, but we have a number of other trucks out here, some guys to watch out for.
Well, I think one of them we got to watch tonight is going to be Barefoot with Brian Womack. He's from St. Louis. Now, we've seen Todd Frolick drive this truck all year long, but Brian Womack from here has a lot of fans here really inspired to run Barefoot strong tonight.
Anybody else you should watch out for? The pits are tight. You're over here already. Thank you for being here. Who else should there be?
There's a mystery man here, and that's the Mountaineer. Our first look at him, and I'll tell you, it's a good-looking truck. It's got a great reputation. We want to keep our eye on the Mountaineer. If there's a dark horse to win the thing, though, I think it could be Equalizer and David Morris. He loves turning courses, and he's a great driver.
Well, guys, it's showtime. Get to your comfortable booth. I'll stay down here. Time to race.
All right.
It's Hollywood's wildest alien invasion.
Running through the field here in St. Louis, that's Sampson. We heard from Dan Patrick. He is ready to do it here tonight. Now, here's a guy from West Virginia, Mountaineer. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do on this big St. Louis track. Avenger, another one of those we haven't seen a lot this year on Motor Madness. Reptoid comes into the fight. He, too, an underdog in this event here in St. Louis.
With 16 trucks, they're all here ready to go. Mark Hall brings in the Executioner to take a shot at the big boys. And Little Tiger's back. We've seen Brian Barthel have a lot of success this year. He could be strong on this turning course. Barefoot, of course, started off great on Motor Madness, has slumped in mid-season. The driver changed. Brian Womack wants to win in front of the home fans. And there's Scott Stevens. King Crunch, always a contender.
And Gunslinger, we heard he wants to make some noise here, and I think he's got a truck to be able to do just that. Cyborg, well, he's a little underpowered, but never count him out. Carolina Crusher has had kind of a tough season, but he hopes to end it on a high note here in St. Louis. And Busted Loose, he hopes to do that in this long dome track.
1 week ago, Tom Mintz had his winning streak in the Bulldozer snapped in Nashville by the Gravedigger. He wants to get back on the winner's circle here in St. Louis. An upstart and a long shot, but he's a good one. Watch David Morris in the Equalizer. Gravedigger trying to wrap up the TNN Points Championship for Pace Motorsports right here in St. Louis. And the guy in the first round who has a chance to try and knock him off, Monster Patrol second in points, has to beat him.
Wow. Now let's see how it works here in St. Louis.
This was a really good course. I'm really going to enjoy this course. At least I say it now. We were able to use about 5,000 yards of dirt, which was a great help. And we were able to put a lot of step-ups with tabletops, doubles.
There's a lot of obstacles out here. It looks cool. Track really looks great.
For one thing, you're going to have to attack it wide open because everybody here is very competitive, and there are no race here going to be given away. You're going to have to run your truck 110% every round.
You got to charge these obstacles as fast as you can, but you also got to get the truck back down on the ground so you can get some ground speed. And then in the turn, you just got to be perfect on that turn.
This particular track here, your driver's really got to be a finesse driver. He's really got to let the truck drive him as much as he drives the truck in order to win these kind of races.
This will be not only a driver's course, which I know you guys have talked about in the past, but it's also a motor course, which is wide open, pedal to the metal.
This is probably the mecca of tracks right now. I mean, we're going to do a complete revolution of this place in our own lanes. And I mean, we've got everything from cars to jump to ski moguls to doubles, and we have to do it twice. So we're talking about a lot of driving going on here.
This is it. This is a TNN Super Bowl Motor Madness right here, my man, and they're going to be pedal to the metal, wide open for St. Louis, Missouri.
Boy, it sounds like a lot of fun here.
Oh, Mike, my hat's off to the crew. This is the greatest track I've ever seen built for a monster truck race. It's going to be an awesome night. And right off the bat, Mark Hall would love to tame it in the Executioner.
And he's got a tough opponent, though. He's got to go up against Sampson. Is there you see the two trucks that are staging. Sampson, Dan Patrick, one of the favorites here. This track almost built for his truck with that big motor, and the fact that he also is able to really get around in those turns pretty good. We'll see what he can do.
No question about it. It is a driver's track, but as Dan Allen was saying, hey, motor makes a big difference. Sampson, Barefoot, the guys with the huge motors could be tough here, and look at the lead Sampson has already.
Boy, Sampson jumps out to an early lead, and you see these obstacles that they have to go over. It's not easy at all, but Sampson negotiating it very, very well. And Sampson, as they turn around, the start-finish line is actually in the middle of the arena over those crush cars, and Executioner can't quite make it over.
Well, at the end of the race, Executioner kind of went flat, but Mark Hall was in that race at the end, and, you know, it was a bit of a surprise. I thought that he'd just get outpowered by Dan Patrick, but Mark Hall runs one fine race here. Gets to the turn beautifully, and the turn will be big, Mike, as it always is here on Motor Madness. Gets a little sideways, but still not too bad because he's setting up the turn, and again, here they're only getting major infractions. You know, if you bump something a little bit, it's not going to give you a problem in St. Louis. And yeah, something just went away right there.
Something broke in the transmission, something on that truck. Well, look at Sampson. Dan Patrick really getting a lot of air, and then when he gets down, is able to get the ground speed back up. Just incredible.
You know, the air's impressive. It's great when you're watching it. It also costs you time on the racetrack. You're fastest when you're moving those wheels and cutting that dirt out of your way.
Dan Patrick really wants it here in St. Louis. Let's check in with Dan Moriarty.
Executioner looked good at first, then kind of slacked off near the end, and you just took it home hard.
Well, when I went in the turn, I saw he was there. Then I found out later his fuel pump cavitated and he lost power. But like I said, you know, that was a tough one to get around.
You said earlier you're the first monster truck out on that course. Are the jitters gone now? Once you get the first race done, next round coming up?
A little bit. I watched, you know, all the trucks that I could. I still say it's a fast course, like I said earlier, and so I've got that out, kind of under my belt, but I'm going in a different lane, so, you know, we just have to see.
Truck's running well, though?
Yeah, I'm very content with it. You know, we'll just do it a round at a time, and we'll get somewhere.
May the best truck win.
That's what we're here for.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
A reminder that tonight's monster trucks all competing for a portion of the $100,000 Pace Motorsports Monster Jam Points Fund. We'll be back.
What's the...
In St. Louis at the TWA Dome, Mike Hawkwood, Scott Douglas, and Dan Moriarty with you tonight for the World Finals of Monster Truck action. Nice crowd on hand, and they are excited. Now coming up, well, this is an underdog right here, Scott.
Jim Killer comes in the Avenger. Our first look at him on Motor Madness out of Columbus, Michigan in the Chevrolet S10. Kohler of 572, so he's got a lot of cubic inch to work with, and you know it's as big as the Hemis that are running. But again, we'll get a look at him, kind of an unknown. When you talk about engines, you start with the barefoot machine.
And how about Brian Womack? You know, the hometown favorite here. This is going to be an interesting story.
Well, Todd Frolick has been the main shoe behind the barefoot team this year, but Womack has had a great year as well. And in his hometown, barefoot needed a little change of luck. The team decided, let's go with Womack. Brian wants to prove that it was the right decision. He's off to a good start, and Avenger's in trouble.
Avenger is in trouble, and Womack is going to try to hold it straight and steady. If he does, he's going to advance here in round one. You see him taking his time there on that turn. He saw what has happened over the crushed cars to the finish line, and there it is. Brian Womack advances in round one.
Avenger got it going again, but something went away, lost power right in that first turn, and so Avenger will take an early exit from the 16-truck World Finals field here in the U.S. Hot Rod Association sanctioned action from St. Louis. Avenger will go ahead and finish the course and try and figure out what went wrong for the next time around the block. But, you know, Mike, as we look at barefoot, remember one thing. Any place that you can go straight, barefoot is going to have an advantage because nobody makes more horsepower than that team.
Yeah, the ground speed, when they do go straight, obviously is very, very important. We heard early in the show where some of the trucks have changed the gearing around a little bit just to be able to pick up some more horsepower and to be able to go just a little bit faster. But a nice run and a nice start for Womack and barefoot.
All right, you got Sampson next round, but you're coming in here taking over for Mr. Froelich, who's been running this series for a while. How's barefoot running?
Barefoot's running good, you know, and I got to really thank Todd for letting me come in here in my hometown and do this show. Sampson, he's a hard driver, you know. I mean, it's going to be hard to beat him out here. Hopefully I can get him in the corners here. We'll have to wait and see. We got the horsepower to get down the straightaways.
The thing about this is, though, Sampson, in this next round, is changing lanes from his first round run. That's got to play mind games.
Yeah, we kind of flipped the coin for it. I got the same lane I had first round, so hopefully it'll work to my advantage.
That's got to help. And also the hometown crowd. You talked about coming from here, Froelich saying, yeah, you know, go give it a run. You got to carry that barefoot flag.
Yeah, definitely. I want the flag. You know, we want to come number one tonight and hopefully make Todd proud of us.
I think Todd will be proud of that run.
Well, we got a couple of upstarts in this one, and I think either one of these guys could shake a bracket up tonight. Brian Barthel and Little Tiger going up against the Mountaineer and Robbie Gray out of Ripon, West Virginia. Our first look at Robbie on Motor Madness, but has built quite a reputation running up and down the East Coast. And now here with us in St. Louis for the World Finals against a veteran competitor in Brian Barthel, who's been strong this year on turning courses.
Yeah, I was talking to Robbie before we got underway here, and he was really excited about being here in St. Louis and said, I plan to pull off a couple of upsets. We'll see what he can do here against Little Tiger. Pretty even off the start, almost dead even as they head down to the turn.
Boy, they are dead even. A great race. Now remember, good start for Mountaineer. Little Tiger's run against these guys before here on Motor Madness. As a matter of fact, he's made the Final Four a couple of times.
Little Tiger trying to take that turn a little too hard. Oh, Little Tiger goes over.
Wow.
What a tough break for Brian Barthel, and here comes Mountaineer to pull off the win in round one. Little Tiger just couldn't make that turn.
The U.S. Hot Rod officials quickly on the scene to make sure Brian's okay, and he's moving around in the cab right now. As anybody who's ever been in a vehicle flipped will tell you, the first thing is to safely get yourself unbuckled and be able to get out of the vehicle. Looks like Brian's okay, and indeed, he's coming out. Not sure what happened. We're going to get a look at it, Mike, in a minute on replay, but that thing just kind of bit in the turn and went over on him.
Well, it started out fine. As we said, they were both dead even as they began, and then they come around to the turn. And I think that Brian knew they were even as they headed back down to the final turn, and that he was really going to have to give a little something extra. And that little extra he gave was just too much. And over she goes.
I'll tell you, that is one of the stranger turns I've seen. There was just no indication he was going to go over.
You know, Brian, that was exciting to watch. It may not have been as exciting to be in the middle of it.
It was actually kind of exciting to ride it out. I mean, I was steering and trying to crack it, but it just wouldn't come back down. With a broken cylinder, it overextended one way.
What do you think happened in that corner? Because you were so tight, and you looked like you may have had that victory.
It broke the inside steering cylinder, and one cylinder won't hold the wheels, so they shot all the way the other way, and it just pulled it right over.
All right, the fact that you can't win a race and you get to go out like that, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try and have it fixed for freestyle in a few minutes.
You just did your freestyle.
Well, I'm going to do it again.
Way to go, Brian.
Thanks.
Well, that explains that something broke on Little Tiger and gave Mountaineer the win.
Yeah, exactly, because as I mentioned a moment ago, there was just no indication, and bang, over he goes. Now, Robbie Gray was hanging with Little Tiger, but it was going to be a tight race, and you can see Robbie kind of burping the turns, trying to get a feel for it in the Mountaineer. This turns out for him to be a very good situation because now he gets a feel for the course before he goes to the next round.
So Robbie Gray, a newcomer here on Motor Madness Monster Jam, and he is impressive in his first run.
Robbie, first round down. How's the truck running?
Truck's running good. We're real happy with it. I'm going to try to set it down the first pass, which only takes one to get you put out here. So the truck handled real good. I got into the first turn, not as good as I wanted to, but when I got into the tabletops down there, I got into that second turn. I happened to look over, and I seen Little Tiger going up on two wheels. So now I could just lift it and start to backpedal a little bit and just kind of carry my truck on through the other end because I knew he was in trouble. So, you know, I just kind of backpedal a little bit to save my truck for the next round.
To be honest, is it a really bad way to win that way, or you'll just take it any way you get it?
Well, let's face it, it is a bad way to win anytime a guy has to get his truck tore up, regardless whose end it's on. But, you know, we'll take it and we'll go to the next round, even though we don't want him to have to, you know, go about that way. But next round, we'll just see what happens.
Robbie Gray advances on. Little Tiger flips, but as we heard, might be back in freestyle. We'll be back with more Monster Trucks in a moment. You're watching the World Finals of Monster Truck action from St. Louis, Missouri. King Crunch. Scott Stevens at the wheel, been in this business a long, long time. You can't count him out. Well, this guy knows how to run all kinds of courses.
And another veteran is Jim Jack in the Reptoid out of Milton, Florida. So here are a couple of guys that we have seen here on Motor Madness throughout the 1999 racing season who have been able to spring some upsets. Neither of them has been able to get that big win here, but you know, you can't even get to the Final Four of the finals until you can come up with a first-round win. They both want this one bad, and they both think they can win this race.
All right, and they are underway here. And as through the first turn, a little bit of trouble. Trouble for Scott Stevens. Had to actually back that truck up. Did not make the turn. That is going to kill him. And here comes Reptoid around. Knows all he's got to do now is run smooth. Oh, man, he just saw it. We were in the background there. The wheel came off. I saw that wheel rolling off. Scott Stevens had problems from the get-go in this thing.
This is not a run that's going to end up on Scott Stevens' highlight reel, except for what can happen in a monster truck. First of all, he misses the turn. You can see right there, if he takes that sonotube out, that way they're going to DQ him because he was going to maul it rather than just kind of bump the thing. Now as he comes around, he corrects it, and let's watch what happens because all of a sudden when he hits the wheel, wow, it just busted on him.
Well, it just broke there, and we were focused in on Reptoid, our cameras were, and you saw there on the ISO that just came off. Ooh, man. That's kind of got to be scary when you're up in the cockpit of that because it bounced back up into it.
What do you think happened?
Well, it looks like the planetary blew apart. We just got through sticking new axles in it, and
The front chunk blew out last week on us, so did a good job, we thought, but looked like it came apart on us.
So before the race, the truck looked fine, it was riding fine, you had it all set. The course took advantage of it, you think, or what?
Yeah, he launched it pretty hard off that last jump, so that's probably what did it. I hadn't looked at the shocks yet to see where we landed up on that, but all that's going to play a factor is how the shocks were set up for this course. And right now, it looks like we were a little soft on them.
Get ready for the freestyle?
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one to get ready. If we could, we will. But whether or not it's going to happen or not, I just don't know.
Oh, I don't think you're going to get that ready. No way.
Oh, and Scott Stevens took a beating inside that cab. Here's Jack Coburn. We've talked about him a lot this winter, Mike. Kind of undersized, underpowered, but he gets in there, able to handle the turns, able to run with the big boys.
Yeah, he is, but he's better on the tighter courses. We'll see underpowered on this big track in St. Louis. You got to wonder how he's going to be able to fare. And when his opponent here, Gunslinger,
he's not underpowered.
He's not underpowered at all. He is going to be ready to go, and as he likes to say, cock-locked or ready to rock.
You stole his line, Mike.
I know I stole his line.
Holdsbar, Florida, the home site for Scott Hartsock and the Gunslinger. Certainly a solid favorite in this race. Two-time winner here on Motor Madness this season, so he'd love to close it out with a finals victory in St. Louis, and he's off to a great start.
Yeah, it is Gunslinger all the way here through the first turn, taking a big, healthy lead over Cyborg. Again, Cyborg a little underpowered. Coming back through this final turn, and Gunslinger taking it very smooth. But Cyborg holding his own now. Cyborg made up some ground, but it's too much for Gunslinger. And Scott Hartsock on with the win.
Very solid run for Scott Hartsock and Gunslinger. But let's watch Jack Coburn and Cyborg. You tip your hat to this guy again. He doesn't have all of the power and the tools the others got, but what he does have is a truck that can get around turns, move quickly, and I'll tell you, Jack's a good driver. There he just keeps on going, kind of nudge the pole, but again, unless you really maul the pole, I don't think anybody's too offended here in the World Finals. As the guys told us, it's just minor infractions and major infractions that they're worried about. The difference there, and Cyborg comes through with a nice run. Kind of veered off at the end, but I think he was just trying to find some way to catch Gunslinger on that last lap, and it was too late.
Yeah, when he made that final turn, he glanced up and saw Gunslinger ahead of him, and there was a desperate move there on the last part. But Scott Hartsock knew he had to run smooth because he knew he had the horsepower. So maybe back down a little bit in those turns. That's what allowed Cyborg to be a little more even with him, but the horsepower just too much for Gunslinger.
Nice run from Scott Hartsock. He'll go to round two.
Now let's check in now with Dan Moriarty. He's got Scott with him.
Scott, one heck of a first round.
Yeah, it was. It's a little intimidating. You go out there, you got your first round to deal with, and you go out there, you not really know how the truck's going to hook. This clay up here, it's really unbelievable what it'll do. I mean, it wants to pull a wheelie off a line. In that case, it's going to want to carry the front wheels to the first set of cars and really pitch us, for a wild ride. We don't need that. We need to make ground speed to get around these corners because this is the World Finals. Pace Motorsports, Mega Power Car Care Products, Ford Gunslinger. We want to win this thing worse than anything that TNN Motorsports can come up with.
After you see the few rounds before you and two trucks go over, one loses the tire, snaps everything up front, the other one ends up on his hood, you're saying to yourself, what's next?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why I said it's intimidating, but hey, we came in here, we got some big guns, and if I got to shoot somebody in the back to get around this course tonight, that's what I'm going to do.
Talk to you next round, baby.
All right, buddy.
Well, Scott Hartsock is excited and ready, and why not? It's the World Finals here in St. Louis. We got more first round action in a moment.
Check out live Pace Motorsports action June 5th and 6th to date. New York State Fairgrounds the place, and the Monsters the main event. That's right, the Monsters are ready to rumble. Syracuse is the battleground. All you need is a ticket. Grab them before they're gone at www.pacemotorsports.com.
It's a good idea. Mike Hogwood, Scott Douglas, and Dan Moriarty with you tonight in St. Louis World Finals. We continue with round one. Carolina Crusher and Bustin' Loose. Boy, Crusher'd love to win here tonight. Gary Porter had kind of a tough year, but that'd all be wiped away if he could get a couple of good runs.
And he's going to go up against another veteran, Ron Nelson, out of Conroe, Texas, in the Bustin' Loose Chevrolet. This has all the potential to be an outstanding race here in the first round, as the winner will move on to meet Gunslinger in round number two.
And they're off, and pretty even off the start. Wow. Down through the first turn, though, it is Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher who has taken the advantage. It is Porter slowing down in the turn is busted loose. Really had a little trouble negotiating that turn. And we focus in on Carolina Crusher. It's going to be Crusher taking that turn. There you see busted loose, a little bit behind. Gary Porter is going to win here in round one out of Wadesboro, North Carolina. Carolina Crusher a winner.
Crusher in a groove on that run. He absolutely ran it flawlessly. Busted loose struggled, but watch, off the line, Nelson looked pretty good. Now he's getting kind of a little cockeyed. The truck got upset off that first turn, and then off that first jump. Then as he goes to the first turn, he kind of really lost power a little bit. He didn't have a lot of speed through the turn, and that's what really got him. He got up into that whoop section, some of those jumps over there for the other divisions that are running here today, and he kicked the back end of his truck up. He was done at that point.
And again, a strong run for Gary Porter. We'll ISO on it and take a look at it.
Plus, Gary got off the line so beautifully, and you don't see the upsetting of the truck that you noticed with busting loose. Crusher, and Gary has done this for years, one of the smoothest, most consistent runners on the Pace Motorsports circuit, and you can see right here, really just a flawless run, Mike.
It was flawless. There's the final turn. He took it perfectly out in front here, and he knew coming home that he had it.
First round, you win. Are the jitters gone?
I don't know. I hope so. I didn't run the truck 100% that round. The rear suspension's, hitting pretty hard. Then we're going to adjust it. Come back for this second round. We're going to have to run harder to take care of Gunslinger. But I think once we get our shocks dialed in, we'll be ready.
Well, you say they run that hard. I say you come on the final run. Look at you shut it down a little bit because you knew you had a good lead.
Right. I'd seen them, coming around that corner. I knew I had a pretty good lead on them. And so I just let out of it and tried to save the truck. And, we're ready for the next round.
Now you got Gunslinger and Hardsock, your neighbor. How do you get psyched for that?
I'm just going to go out there and try to shoot him down instead of him shooting me down, I guess.
Talk to you later on, brother.
All right, thanks.
Good luck.
All right, Gary Porter with a big win there. It's Bulldozer pulling up on the far lane, going up against Equalizer.
Well, this is interesting. It was about 10 years ago that everybody in the monster truck world was getting shook up because a new kid on the block named David Morrison, Equalizer, was shooting him down. Now, 10 years later, he's established. Tom Mintz has been around a little bit, but just now, he's become the new threat. And Bulldozer had that huge undefeated streak that Gravedigger snapped a week ago here on Motor Madness when he beat him in the finals in Nashville. Let's see if he can get back on the winning track against a solid Equalizer.
Bulldozer wants to get going again. Oh, Bulldozer gets some big-time air. Still maintains the lead as they come through the first turn. Equalizer, though, made a nice turn, but here comes Bulldozer. A lot of horsepower showing. We'll see what they do as they make the final turn. It's anybody's game right now, but it's going to be Bulldozer by about a truck length. Bulldozer and Tom Mintz, your winner.
Writing was on the wall for David Morris. Actually, David runs a pretty solid race right here. Doesn't get into trouble. Goes through the turns well, as we always expect from David Morrison, the Equalizer. I mean, he turns this beautifully. Comes around and he's in good shape. But what I mean is he knew he was in trouble. When he comes to the last turn and he looks and sees he's even with Bulldozer, I know David knew he was done because going over those last jumps, he just knew there was no way he was going to be able to outgun Bulldozer to the finish line. You'll see it here on this run.
And he cut that turn just a little short as well. Boy, some big-time air by Bulldozer over that first set of crush cars, and he recovered nicely and then just puts that pedal to the metal and keeps going.
He is spectacular on the jumps. That's all you can say. When he comes, he hits them full throttle. And again, I think at this point, he knows he's got it. There's nobody going to beat him even up on the straight run.
Tom Mintz and Bulldozer, winner in round one.
One heck of a first-round run, brother.
Yeah, it was real good, smooth, kind of a little checkout pass. We're going to have to go a little faster than that if we're going to win, but we got a good one under our belt and let a little of the pressure off, and hopefully we'll be ready for the next go-around.
There is pressure, isn't there?
Yeah, a little bit. That first one, get a truck, go down or two, and, it takes a little time. Get a little hot in there. It's hot down here. Everything seems good, though.
But a first-round win against Equalizer is a big first-round win.
Yeah, it is. He ain't no slouch by any means. He's a real good runner, real good turner, but we got him.
Great job. We'll see you next round.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, big win for Bulldozer. Hey, we got a lot of trucks here in St. Louis, and we have a lot more round one action coming your way on Motor Madness.
Uh-oh.
Hey, taking it on the road with the U.S. Hot Rod Monsters. They invade the Midwest this July. Terre Haute getting ready for a battle July 16th and 17th at the Vigo County Fairgrounds when the Monster Jam SummerSlam World Tour comes a-calling. Get tickets at pacemotorsports.com.
Here's the matchup everybody's been waiting for in this first round. Paul Schaefer in Monster Patrol knows he has to win to keep Gravedigger from winning the title here.
Well, Paul Schaefer comes in as the only guy mathematically who can keep Gravedigger out of the TNN Motor Madness Pace Motorsports Championship for the season. He's so far ahead in points, but if Monster Patrol can put him down here and then win the event, Paul can still do it. Dennis Anderson, though, is on a mission, and that is to win this championship. And he was on a mission last week to get his flag back. We saw what happened. He got the flag back.
He's got the flag, that checkered flag you see on the back of the Gravedigger.
Again, that's significant of who won the last main event here on TNN Motor Madness.
What a season he's had. And Gravedigger over that first set of crushed cars is a little bit out in front. Monster Patrol trying to take the turn. Has to back out of it big time on the turn.
Yeah, he got big trouble in the turn. Wow.
Gravedigger now knows just got to run a smooth one and it's over. Monster Patrol recovered a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Gravedigger and Dennis Anderson on to win here in round one, and Anderson wraps up the season champion.
You cannot make that kind of mistake that Paul made against this guy. Dennis Anderson is 100%. And I thought he kind of nose-dove it hard. It cost him a little bit of time on the straightaway, but it really didn't hurt him. And Dennis looks as good as ever right here. Smooth, running it hard, and boy, you can see it's just all Gravedigger. Comes through the turn again, virtually no waver. You see a lot of guys slow, a lot of guys bobble. Dennis is smooth as silk.
First round's out of the way. How's the truck running?
Truck's running good. I already know what I'm in for tonight. That one ramp, the finish line ramp, I'm going to be nosing over hard. Actually, I sat in the truck for a little too long. My back's been bothering me. Kind of took the wind out of me that first little jump right there, and I've been jumping a lot harder than that all season. Told the guys if that thing keeps pinching my back up like that, I'm going to have to stop, I guess. But I'm out walking it off right now. I got Tom next round. So we're going to see what happens. I don't know if my back's going to give up or this truck's going to give up. We got to go for broke this next round. I got Bulldozer.
I mean, a Bulldozer Gravedigger quarterfinals?
Hey, that's just how it falls on the chart, baby. We got to do it.
That's like World Championship. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, it could be.
You going to make it through it? You okay?
Yeah, I think I'll be all right. I just get out walking around a little bit. Kind of beat one of the trucks really hard last weekend in Seattle. I think I done a little back damage. Doesn't bother me to stand up. Sure does hurt to sit down, though.
We'll talk to you afterwards, man. Have a good time.
All right, thanks.
So wonder more guys don't get that kind of injury the way these guys go over these jumps. We got Pro Stadium trucks on the way on Motor Madness Monster Jam. In St. Louis tonight, time for some Pro Stadium trucks. Thomas Ray White's had a great season. There you see the guys who are trying to catch him tonight. And we're going to look at some highlights of the Pro Stadiums. Twister 2 and Killing Time going at it.
Thomas Ray White going to be crowned the champion, coming in with that huge point lead, making a splash in St. Louis as he goes up against Killing Time. And again, this is early round action. Now keep your eyes on Twister 2 in the turn, up and over on his lid. But look at this. Keeps going, back on all fours, and here he goes again.
That's incredible. That was incredible.
Awesome.
How about Ron Hobbs Sr. and Ridge Runner up on his nose? Oh, my. You know, these tabletop jumps and some of these others they have just too much for a smaller truck like Hobbs.
What's amazing, look at Hobbs. He just kind of sits there on his nose for a while. I'm sure he's thinking, well, am I going over or am I going back? He went over.
Indeed he did. There's another one who cannot do it. Troy Durgeon just had a really tough time. And John Jungablut and Wild Thing.
Indeed, it was tough on the front ends and the noses and the radiators. Here we're going to look at the Zebra in action against Concoction. Now, this is round 2 competition, trying to earn the way into the finals, and the Zebra takes it up and over. And indeed,
this course is trouble for some of these Pro Stadiums.
Shane Ballard was all right after that flip as well.
Tough and Ugly and Chevy Plus. And Dan Sutter on a run.
Yeah, Dan Sutter's been good all year, but Kyle Walton upset him was a big surprise in St. Louis because Tough and Ugly has been the man to beat either him or White all season long.
Back to Killing Time again, Weekend Warrior. And as you can see, some of these guys just trying to be a little careful going over some of these trucks. And Rick Armbrust, the Weekend Warrior, was the winner there.
So we move now into the final as Chevy Plus went up against the Weekend Warrior. Walton off to the good start, and it was one that was going to be tight all the way through. A lot on the line. Again, not only the World Finals for the Monster Trucks, the World Finals for the Pro Stadium Trucks and Pace Motorsports competition here in St. Louis.
And notice their course a little bit different than those that run by the Monster Trucks that we've been watching. And this is tough. I mean tough.
You can see how close it was to the final, but Rick Armbrust ready to get it done. The Weekend Warrior is the champion from St. Louis. And look at that. That's your basic photo finish.
That was close. And congratulations to Rick and to Thomas Ray White, who takes the Pro Stadium Truck Point Championship. We'll talk to him when we come back. Right now, timeout for this. Here on Motor Madness, Monster Jam will meet the champ. Just a moment.
Joseph.
All the TNN excitement you love, you can cheer the Monsters on live as they'll be going all over the country this summer. And you can check out Pro Arena Truck Excitement and much more. A lot of great events you gotta see, so be sure to get your tickets at pacemotorsports.com.
You know, the board in St. Louis doesn't have you winning, but you went out with one heck of a great ride here, and you still take home the points championship for the entire season. Tell me about that. It's about being here for a long period of time and continuing to go, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's long, short, and sweet, and I'm glad to be here. Pace Motorsports, TNN, Well Racing, High Lift, and Super Lift. We're just lucky to get here to win this points championship.
We're also happy to have you standing up straight after that roll.
Yeah, it was a little light, and you know, we went on. I always try to drive one completely to the finish, and that's the name of the game.
You would have pushed that car if you had to.
I believe I'd have got out and run if I'd have had to do it.
How heavy is that trophy?
It's not too heavy. I believe I can carry it home. We got to go back to North Carolina. We're down here with a lot of North Carolina boys. I'd like to show a little bit of contribution to them. Grave Diggers always help me. Carolina Crusher, Executioner welded me up today before we ran. They always seem to stick in there with me.
Great job, man, and congratulations.
Yes, sir, and we appreciate it too.
Very welcome.
Nice guy, Thomas Ray White. Congrats to him. Hey, you've heard us talk about a lot of terms this year on Motor Madness. What are the favorite terms? Well, let's check that out right now.
You know, we like to say that we come in here cocked, locked, and ready to rock.
What's your favorite jargon, Jim, of the entire year?
I gotta say, Gary Porter's Canuter thing has gotta be, you know,
My favorite monster truck term. God, I don't know. You just put me on the spot. I got so many of them that I use.
I guess when in doubt, stand on it.
There you go.
Well, we have several different ones.
My favorite monster truck term. Let's see.
I really don't have any much better than the Canuter and Rod and the hog did from the fellow drivers.
My favorite term, and you don't hear it used as much as a lot of these guys do, is blowovers.
I'd say either I'm going to make history or be history, or some go and some blow.
We're cocked, locked, and ready to rock.
What we call our Canuter and Rod, a piece on our sway bar linkage.
You know, David Morris was the equalizer. He thought that one up.
But are you like a canoodering specialist also?
Yeah, I'd say I'm a Canuter and Rod specialist.
We made all the Canuter and Rod for this thing.
Canuter and Rod. I'll never forget that term. Hey, we got more truck action coming up. Stay with us.
Back on Motor Madness, and get ready for the Monster Jam Summer Slam World Tour. It's going to come a-calling this summer. Pick out your spot. Go to pacemotorsports.com, get your tickets, and be there for the Monster Jam and more.
All right, now it's time for our Maylocks Minute. There it is. what a tough break for Scott Stevens and King Crutch. That wheel coming off.
Not only does the wheel come off, it gives him a whooping. I mean, watch it go up in the cab and beat on it.
It really did.
Ouch.
Oh, man, that hurts. Hey, we got a great field for next week as we're through round 1. 8 trucks, Scott. This is going to be some showdown from St. Louis when we get back with you next Friday.
Everybody wants the checkered flag from St. Louis, and all the big guns are still alive. You're talking about Sampson and Barefoot and Dozer and Gravedigger and Crusher. They'll all be here next week.
It's going to be fun. Hey, let's get a final word from Dan Moriarty.
What a night. The first show here in St. Louis. Well, 16 monsters began. Can we top it? I bet we can. Thomas Ray White, come on, the Pro Stadium trucks, he rolls his over, still finishes the race. Had enough points because he went that far in the rounds to win the entire year series. And next week, Quad Wars, St. Louis, New Orleans. Talk about 2 cities that just don't like each other. You saw that already in some of the interviews in the past. Well, that's it from downstairs. Dan Moriarty saying so long for now. But like I said, we'll see you next week here in St. Louis. Mike and Scott, take it away. Say goodbye, and I'll see you next week. I'm getting you on the floor one more time, guys. See you then.
All right, Danny boy, we'll be with you down on the floor one more time. Going to be a great week next week, Scott.
He's assuming the elevators are still going to work. You know, I'm not taking the stairs. Oh, it is. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to get it going, and you got to be here at TNN to see it all.
All right. For Dan Moriarty and Scott Douglas, I'm Mike Hogwood reminding you that we'll be with you Friday night on Motor Madness Monster Jam from St. Louis. See you then. So long, everybody.